ready for another lesson?
Do you want me to play the secondary intro, Adam?
Sure.
All right, I'll count you in. In 3,
All right.
2, 1.
Hello,
What's
Yeah.
up, everybody? Welcome back to Back Row Banter, your favorite casual movie talk podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Adam Schwartz, still trying to recover from Blake's comment right before that song played.
I didn't even hear what he said. What was it? I was too busy jamming out.
He goes, I love when you count me out. Oh my God, that was too good. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another glorious episode of Back Row Banter. As you might notice by the title of the episode, or if you tuned in last week, this is not our typical review type or typical episode. We're not reviewing anything. Instead, we're celebrating a super small milestone, nothing big, no big deal, but a 2-year anniversary episode.
Hey.
Yeah, it is July 6th, the day of recording this. I'm going to maybe get this up today, but most likely tomorrow. But let me check Buzzsprout really quick. I believe it was July 6th, 5th or the 6th of 2020 was our first ever
A day
episode.
that will live in infamy.
Yeah, is, you know, the day 4 idiots decided they could talk about movies, and so, you know, here we are.
And there was no one to
Here we are
stop
2 years
us.
later. Yeah, exactly. It's a free market. You know, I love it. I love it. Yeah, July 6th, 2020. So exactly 2 years from the day of recording this was our first ever upload. We uploaded the review, our first ever review, which was The King of Staten Island and the top 10 movie list episode, which we should probably revisit at some point. I feel like after 2 years, things come out, things change. You see a movie you've never seen before that maybe has been out for a while. Because I know there's probably some things that would shift around on my list.
Maybe you find
If I
out
had to guess.
a director is not a good person, and that changes your view
There's
of
also
the
that.
movie a little
Yeah.
bit. Or actors, not
There's-
just directors, writers, anyone involved in it.
Sure.
Sure, yeah.
Bit of sizzle there on
good
one of our
point.
movies that we watched this year.
Anyway, so yeah, for the year two anniversary episode, we're doing Entropy list in review year 2 exclusively. This is the year 2 Entropy list, which was every movie after Black Widow was the first movie of year 2 that we reviewed, and so it's every movie after that. I believe it is. How long is this list? 46 movies long.
I had 47.
Some of those.
Uh-oh.
You have 47? Did I miss one?
I don't know. I just went through the Google Docs and counted. Or just like
That's what I did.
did everything on there. Uh-oh. We should have
Well, I will have to figure out what I missed. You said 47 though?
I had 47, yeah. But we'll figure it out.
We will figure it out. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and give you our top 5 from year 2 and our bottom 5 of year 2. And I also did what I did last year, which is compare our list to the IMDB ratings. So I made an IMDB entry list of year 2, and now that is going to be the entire list. That is not the year 2 list. And it's kind of like an accuracy check. Spoiler alert. It's all over the place. It's not very good. Once we added these movies, they started to get all out of whack. Because last year, I remember coming away from it feeling pretty good.
Yeah, we were pretty spot on. A few big changes, but for the most part, we were.
And I'm not gonna lie to you guys, this is just wildly off. Like, there's so many that are just like all over the place. Some of them, I mean, I would say like there's a good range of them that are within 10. Like, I would say majority of them are within 10, but there are quite a few that are like 10 plus, and some that are we'll get to it, but there's some that are just massive jumps. So stay tuned for that at the end. But of course, before we get to any of that, I'm joined today by the Nizza, Nathaniel Gingerich.
What up, everyone? How's it going? I am occasionally known as the Nizza, if you've ever played games with me online or lived with me overseas. But and
yeah, one of those two exclusively.
Yeah. And when I was in Wu-Tang Clan.
Yes.
Which is where I openly stole that from. But yeah, how's it going, gang? Feels good. Feels like a loose episode. So like I'm like a little bit more, you know,
loose, man.
Yeah. It's a little more casual movie talk, even more casual than we normally are.
You're right. Yeah, it's been a while. Actually, you said it's a loose episode, and I forgot that we used to do those occasionally, where we do a double ep.
Yeah,
we haven't. I don't know if we've done a single double ep in year 2 at all.
I think the closest would have been the bits of sizzle on the Get Back episode.
Yeah, which we need to do more bits of sizzles, but you know that's a conversation for a different time.
It's true. We are busy boys.
We are busy boys. Also joining me today is El Trabajo. Wow, I butchered that. El Trabajo. There you go. That was a little bit better. Tyler Badalis.
What's going on?
Not much,
El
man.
Trabajo 87.
Trabajo.
The work.
I used to have a buddy who used to call me El Baño. And I'm like, you're a piece of shit.
What is that? I'm not.
Does it mean
familiar.
bathroom?
The bathroom.
Yeah, Baño's bathroom.
Okay, that's funny, actually.
Yeah, my brief knowledge of Spanish shines there. You know.
Nice. Good takeaway.
And rounding out the squadron, of course, in year 2, it's Mr. Water Coolers, BlakeHolder.
Hey, what's going on, fellas?
Not much, man. Not much at all.
Yeah. How's DC treating you, man?
Good, dude. It's been fun. We went to. It was a long weekend, man. It was a long ass weekend because, you know, I don't work. Yeah, I don't work Fridays, because my internship Fridays, because that's when I have my trips for my class. And so Friday we went to Mount Vernon, which was cool, very fun, nice scenic place. And it's fun. I forgot we even did that because it feels like so long ago at this point. But anyway, Mount Vernon throughout the day, and then Noah too, whose girlfriend is here. He came in for the weekend, so he was here.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah, he was here, and then a couple other people were here that were visiting, and so me and, you know, my little small group of friends here, and we all kind of just did a bunch of stuff together. So went out Friday, Saturday. What did we do Saturday? Oh, Saturday I recovered from my hangover from Friday, and then most of the day, and then we finally got around to doing stuff and kind of going around a little bit more on Saturday. Then went out again. Sunday we went to the Nationals game. Played the Marlins, first time at Nationals Park. It was really nice. It was maybe like a 30-minute metro ride. The stop goes right to like the stadium essentially. You know, it's about 2 blocks away, not even. And
it's always cool seeing other stadiums.
Yeah,
for
even,
sure.
You know, even I'm not.
I try to do that
fan,
too.
But sorry, not Cardinals. A Nationals fan.
Yeah.
I'm not a Cardinals fan either. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, I'm not really a Nationals fan or a Marlins fan. But it was still fun. It's still fun to be in that atmosphere, of course. And
agreed.
We paid like $30, and we were like third deck, but we were pretty much right behind home plate, front row of the third deck. So it was like great seats, honestly, for $30. Like I was not complaining at all. It was great. Sure. We were in the sun for most of it, but I somehow didn't get sunburnt, which was very impressive because I forgot sunscreen. So I was happy about that.
It's that
is impressive.
In DC.
Yeah, I usually get hella burnt.
I was gonna say, especially given your current tone.
Yeah, right. And then Sunday night we kind of just chilled, and then Monday was obviously 4th of July. I went to Georgetown for a little bit, and then we kind of chilled and went to the fireworks on the National Mall. So that was really cool to see. It was packed, but like we found a nice spot in the grass. We got there like maybe 35 minutes early, and like it's not like we had like a ton of room, but for the group that was there, I guess I left out a small detail. I spent 4th of July with a small group of Frenchmen.
Okay.
And so one of my
I'm interested. Yeah, you're gonna have to
continue.
One of my friends, Shanley, shout out Shanley. She matched with a guy from France who's living here for the summer, who plays tennis here. Like he's a tennis instructor. He goes to school in Michigan, plays there, and he came to DC for the summer to coach. And she matched with him on a dating app, and so you know, we all hung out a couple weeks ago, and they've been still talking and everything. And then over the weekend, he was with us for 4th of July because this wasn't his first 4th of July in America because he's been here for a few years, but he was very excited still. He loved it. and he brought one of his friends then, who was also from France.
Okay.
And so there was two of them, and then our group with these two went to the National Mall, and then before I know it, there's four more of them that came and joined us. Now, I don't know if the other four were all from France, but they're all from Europe for sure. I think one of them was from like Italy. The other three were from France.
Sure.
And so all of a sudden, as the fireworks are starting, I'm like looking around, and it's like me and like 3 or 4 of my friends, and then there's just like 6 Europeans, and I was just like, "This is hilarious."
Well, the French did help us a lot in the War of Independence, so
They
you know.
did. They did. Honestly, it felt very patriotic. You know?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely did.
Then we
It
turned around and
definitely
did not help them with their revolution, but you know.
Yeah. Well, they still got free.
Yeah,
All's
That's
well
America
that ends
for you,
well.
though.
Yeah, right. So yeah, DC's treating me well. I'm kind of sad because it's the realization that I'm halfway done has hit me, and I just know it's going to go even faster than these last 4 weeks have gone. So, holding on to every day, make the most of every day. It's been good. Yeah,
As you should, man.
yeah, trying to. All right, so before we get into our top 5, bottom 5s of year 2 in review, Nathaniel, what have you been watching, man?
Yeah, man. So I thought we'd go through what we're watching real quick, just so we're not like double booked next week. But I got to a couple movies this week. One of which was The Nice Guys. Have anyone else seen it?
I haven't seen this, but this is Russell Crowe and
Ryan Gosling.
Correct. Yes.
I've seen this.
Yeah, they're playing like pretty shitty PIs in California. It's written by Shane Black, directed by Shane Black. Pretty much the last good thing he did. And then he made The Predator, which was awful.
I was going to say, didn't he make The Predator?
Yeah, and I think that might have killed his career.
Rightfully so.
But that movie's amazing. So if he makes another one of those, I'm in for it. But yeah, it's really fun. Russell Crowe gets to play kind of like a heavy bad guy. Well, not like a bad guy, but just a heavy, I guess. And Ryan Gosling plays kind of like a sniveling kind of coward PI, and it's really kind of a funny turn for him. So very dry, very funny. I'm into it, so I recommend everyone watch that. At least The Squadron, if you haven't seen it already. I think you'd all enjoy it.
For sure.
Another one I got to was The Big Lebowski, classic from, I guess, our era, I would say. Tyler's and mine era a little bit. But that was actually Waz's first time seeing it, and he did not enjoy it. So that was kind of funny.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's kind of one of those ones that it depends how old you are when you see it, and just kind of, it's a Coen Brothers movie, so it's always never for everyone too and everything. But I'm definitely a huge fan of it, so check that out if you have any interest at all. I got to see The Black Phone, which Blake talked and referenced last week. Got to see that on Monday as well. That's Ethan Hawke, and I don't know who else is in that movie off the top of my head, but new horror movie that's out, directed by Scott Derrickson, who also did Sinister. As Blake kind of referenced last week, there is a lot of Sinister in this in some ways, but I think this does a little bit better job closing the ending overall than Sinister does.
I agree with that statement. Wow.
Yeah.
100%. Ending wise.
Yeah, for sure.
Without a doubt.
And kind of what Blake was referencing too last week, there is an element of guys like us who watch horror films almost all the time, or at least once or twice a week or something like that. You do become a little like desensitized, I think, in some ways to that kind of thing as well too. So I saw it with Waz as well, and he definitely found it a little bit more scarier than I did, but still a very good overall effective kind of spooky movie.
Yeah.
So would recommend that as well. That's getting really good reviews kind of all around, I would say. So if anyone has any interest in that, go check it out. But another horror movie I got to, which I think would be really interesting for us to kind of talk about maybe at some point, or for Blake to check out too, is a movie called Censor. It's on Hulu.
Yeah, that came out like last year, 2 years ago.
Yeah, it was last year.
I remember seeing some glimpses of it. I haven't got down to see it.
Yeah, it came out. It came out last year. I enjoyed it for sure. It kind of falls into that classic horror trap where it all depends how you feel about the ending, in some ways. But for me, it was really interesting. It's a really interesting setting. So it's a British movie, and it's actually from a Welsh director, and I believe it's from Wales overall. But it takes place during like the Thatcher era of Britain. when they were pretty heavily conservative at that point. And it also takes place in a time and era where there was these VHS videos that were all over the place that were low budget horror movies, but they were known for being extremely gory. And the government then instituted this program called the Video Nasty program, where they basically had people censor or watch these movies and then censor them to be released for the public. And they were very, very kind of strict with everything on that. And then the uncut versions of those videos became illegal, but there was always kind of this like low black market going around where people could go still find these things. And like I'm talking about films like Cannibal Holocaust, Wizard of Gore, like all these like really low budget movies. And they were so afraid basically at the time that people were going to see these movies and act out what was happening in them and stuff. Just real moral panic kind of things. So the movie itself actually follows one of the ladies that is a censor that watches these movies and kind of and goes through and edits them for release to the general public. But she sees one of the movies that is identical to an experience she went through as a child, and that really affected her, and that kind of draws her in, and she starts trying to find out who the director is and all of that kind of stuff, and then it kind of blurs in there. And they do some really interesting shots with like the camera work and everything in that, and also aspect ratio size as well too, is kind of like forcing claustrophobia on you as well too. So it's about an hour and a half. It's on Hulu, like I said, kind of a different vibe for a horror movie, but one that I enjoyed, and I think movie fans will enjoy as well too. Really kind of an interesting point, and not something that we see a whole lot of on our side of the pond, obviously, and everything. So yeah, definitely recommend that. It's on Hulu, like I said. And that was really it for me this week, but I wanted to talk about that one, particularly for Blake as well, too, and everything.
Yeah. No, I'm glad you finally got a chance to see the Black Phone. I mean, I definitely agree with you on the ending-wise. I think up to the final 15 minutes of Sinister, I think that movie is phenomenal.
Right.
You know, and I would probably even go to the lengths of saying, and if it wasn't for that ending, I think that would have surpassed, like, The Conjuring, Insidious, and things of that nature as the masses' favorite horror movie of the 2010s decade. But yeah, I just got a little too focused on the children at the end.
Yeah.
And like the really shitty jump scares, where that's where it went wrong. Yeah. But the Black Phone did have one jump scare that got me though.
So
when he's on the phone, and I was like, oh
yeah.
I didn't expect it because there wasn't really a jump scare up to that point. You know what I mean? Yeah, that one definitely caught me.
There was 3 or 4 of them in the movie myself, and I was sitting next to Waz and another lady, and like I just was like, they would happen, and I would feel both of them go, and I'm just like, okay, yeah, I've watched too many horror movies at this point, because I'm just sitting there with my hand on my face, just kind of watching along while everyone else is freaking out. But yeah, it's definitely, I really enjoyed the Black Phone. Ethan Hawke's amazing in it as well too. Very, very dedicated in his performance. But yeah,
the masks are super cool.
Yeah, that was definitely very, very cool as well too. There were some elements of it that I thought could have been trimmed a little bit, and there was certainly more story on the family than I thought that the trailers were going to imply, particularly how involved his sister is and everything. But overall, 2 thumbs up. So
yeah, for sure.
Blake, did you get anything cool this week?
No, I told myself that I'm going to watch Sinister, and I just bought it yesterday on Vudu.
Okay, very nice.
I wanted to go back and rewatch after watching the Black Phone, so I'm going to see if I can get to that. And then I wanted to get to the theater and see if I can catch Watcher. Which is it's kind of more like low budget horror movie that came out, and I totally forgot, I'm blanking on her name. We just brought it up the other day in Independence Day Resurgence, and it follows Micah
Monroe.
Yes,
yeah,
she's in it, and she's leading. You may have even seen, either of you guys may have even seen the trailer, where it's like she's being like watched from like across the street in another apartment.
Oh, I haven't seen
so
this.
It's kind of like that cliche thing, and she's trying to figure out. She's trying to convince her partner, like, "Hey, I think this guy's creeping on us across the street, X, Y, Z." But it's got like some promising reviews, nothing groundbreaking. But I just kind of want to see her in the horror realm again. So like that's why I want to go back and see it. So I'm gonna see if I can get there this week and get to that. But those are the only 2 highlights that I dedicated my time to get to. But I didn't get a chance to watch either of them. The Lone Thing I did rewatch. I don't want to spoil it because it's in my top 5. So
for sure,
we'll get there.
Speaking of horror, Adam is currently locked himself into a room, and every time I think someone goes to the door, he like looks over, and I'm just expecting like
Imagine how terrified he is.
Yeah. I'm just expecting some Ethan Hawke in a mask to come through and just grab Adam real quick.
Yeah, they're probably going down there like, what the fuck is this guy doing?
What is happening right now? Yeah, of course. Tyler, did you get anything fun? It looks like you're watching Prometheus right now from what I'm seeing.
That's exactly what I'm watching.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I was going to say when you were talking. I was like, oh, I know what movie that is. It's crazy how quick you can. Once I saw, what's his name? Is it Michael
Fassbender? Yeah.
Yeah. Once I saw him, I was like, oh my God, he's watching Prometheus.
Yeah.
Funny. Go ahead.
So I actually got around to a couple different things. Did I tell you guys that I finished Staircase last week?
You said you were almost done with it, I think. Maybe.
Oh, okay. So we finished it. That was really great. I think we're ready to watch the series, which I believe is on HBO Max.
Yes, it is.
So yeah, that'll be really fun. I'll definitely let you guys know when I get around to that. But really interesting case overall. I don't think he did it.
You don't?
No.
I don't know. You watch the other one. I think it makes it a more interesting case as well too. But yeah, it's that show's fascinating to me. That's also a show where I was like, I could be a lawyer. Like, 100%. Where you're following the case and everything, and his kind of lead lawyer and everything. And you're like, we could do this. But also crazy how much research they have to do outside of it. They're just constantly reading stuff and trying to maintain on the edge of science and all of that kind of stuff as well too. But yeah, really an interesting show overall. Very fascinating that we got that opening like lens into that kind of thing.
I like case trials and stuff like that, so
for sure
I thoroughly enjoy those. So always good. Also got around to more One Piece. I think I'm up to episode like 59. I'm
nice.
Pushing 60s, so I'm definitely cruising.
What arc are you on at this point? Or
they just went to Battleship Island, or Warship Island, and the dragons and everything, and then the ground came up, and that's like where the episode ends.
Do they how much of the crew do they have?
They have Zoro, obviously.
Yeah.
Oh, who's the last person they picked up?
Nami, I'm guessing.
Yeah, Nami, Sanji,
Usopp.
Yeah.
Do they have Chopper yet?
No.
Okay, so I think that's.
So I'm getting there.
Yeah, you're right before Chopper at that point.
Yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, that's obviously been pretty fun. From a movie standpoint, Carolee and I got around to That Awkward Moment, which is another Miles Teller.
Yeah, that came out a few years ago, right?
It's relatively old. Yeah, it's Miles Teller, Michael B. Jordan, and Zac Efron.
Yeah, didn't that get like horrible reviews?
I watched it like when it first came out.
Okay.
It's just like a stupid kind of like rom-com, and
sure.
I don't think it's terrible for like a rom-com. It's fine. Like, you know, Lee and I are just on the couch snuggling, so like it's fine. I got around to this show a long time ago, and then nothing new came out. No new stuff's coming out again, but it's the Orville.
Okay, yeah. What is that? Season 3 of that now or something?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
And I find so wholesome, and it's super relevant to like still what's happening like in the real world. So week by week, I thoroughly enjoy watching this TV show, and I'm gonna keep watching it. So
fair enough.
Yeah. Nathaniel, I don't know if you noted or mentioned it, but I know Adam and I were talking about it. We obviously got around to the British Grand Prix.
Oh yeah, I got to see that as well too. Well, at least as much of it as I could before I went into work. So I actually missed the ending, which I understand was pretty insane as well too.
It was, yeah. It was just as good as the beginning. So wild ass race. I
can't wait to go back and watch it. I still haven't finished it yet.
Yeah, I highly encourage you to do so because it is good.
Oh, I saw the ending on Twitter. I was like, my jaw dropped. I was like, what the hell is happening?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you get 5 different cars fighting for the podium, 5 different teams,
right?
In the last 10 laps is very, very fun. Versus just one person leading the race for the entirety of the race. So that was really fun. And then another thing that Lee and I got around to that we have always kind of kept up on, and that is The Boys, and it is fucking awesome.
That's what everybody's saying.
I love
got
it,
a buddy
dude.
who's-
I've
yeah.
loved
Is
that
that
movie.
season 3?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've loved this TV show since it first came out. I've read a little bit of the comics, but not until after it had come out. Yeah, dude, there's not a lot of times, especially you guys can attest to this, watching movies and TV shows as much as we do, and how much we've been exposed to. There's not a lot of things that'll kind of make you drop your jaw, or there's not a lot of gory things anymore that'll make me just be like, holy shit.
I've heard this
but
season just is insane.
This
in
TV
that
show
regard.
typically does it pretty good for me, and this season, yeah, is it's up there, dude.
Yeah, that's what I keep hearing. Doesn't one of them have like a warning on it, like no sane person would watch this or something like that?
They should put that on every episode.
I believe that episode may be the one that's referred to as Herogasm. Which draw what you will from that title.
You'll get there. I mean, if you decide to watch it, it's just if your significant other is not into gore, just know that you'll find the parts when you need to cover their eyes. You'll know.
Well, that show's pretty slapstick, I think, at certain points too. Like it's.
Oh yeah.
There's like Quentin Tarantino Kill Bill Volume 1-esque moments of just like fountains of blood splurting
100%.
everywhere and that kind of thing.
But yeah, that's all I got around to. Adam, what'd you get around to? Just because we both had the British Grand Prix in common.
Like jack shit.
What's that movie?
Cool, Blake. What's up?
No, Blake already went.
I started watching Us. I ended up buying it on Vudu. So if you guys want to rewatch Us before you see Nope, hit me up because I can get you the Vudu login.
Yeah,
but
that's
my
one
roommates
I thought of rebuying. What did you think so far?
Well, my
first, how far did you get into?
I've seen it before. But I haven't seen it since I saw it in theaters.
Sure.
It was the first movie I've ever bought on Vudu, and it gave me 30% off on my first purchase, and so it was like 30% off the rental, which was $4, and I was like, wait, might as well just 30% off the purchase is $10. My roommates are gonna give me 4 of that, and I was like, I paid $6 for a 4K streaming version of Us. Like, sure. So I watched the first like 30 minutes or so before I kind of dipped out and did some other stuff with my friends. But I wouldn't be. I kind of do want to go back and rewatch that before Nope. I feel like I should because I've watched
I'm with you.
Get Out recently enough to like know what Get Out is and everything. But that one I haven't seen in a while, and I'd be interested to see how that has aged for me. Relatively.
Was that 2019?
Yes,
I think it was.
so.
Yeah, I haven't seen it since theater.
Yeah, I haven't either. So I was like, oh, you know what? Maybe this might be worth a rewatch. And now I have it. So, and if you guys need it, let me know. But yeah, started watching that. I'll probably get around to that soon. Started the British Grand Prix, but got like 3 laps in maybe. And that was about it before I had to start working. And
well, there was one lap when a lot of things happened, and then there's a pretty long gap.
Yeah. So
have we heard about Joe? Is he like just fine? Like that?
Yeah, that's what I've seen.
That crash was insane. How many times has that Halo saved people at this point? Right?
Countless. Well, not countless, maybe, but like,
at least Lewis Hamilton and at least that guy.
Lewis Hamilton and at least Joe Guan Yu.
Like back-to-back years. Because was it on Silverstone that Max popped up over him last year?
No, it wasn't Silverstone.
Okay.
I think it was Imola, but I don't take my word for it. It was one of like the Spanish or Italians, I think. Just remember, kind of thinking back to like the chicane that it was on. It reminds me of that.
Something in the axis.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I'll get around to both those. I can't remember if I watched another episode of Obi-Wan or not. I think I'm on episode 5, but I think I said that last week.
Yeah,
so
that is what you said. You said you'd been up to episode 4 last week.
Then yeah, I have not watched another episode, but we'll finish that out. We'll definitely finish that out. Wait, maybe I did. What episode is the one where they go back to the prequels for a bit?
That is the 5th episode.
4? That is the 5th episode.
Yeah.
Then I watched the 5th episode.
Okay.
And it was really good.
Yeah, that's one of the. I think that's when it really took a turn.
Yeah. This show is good. but it's just made me realize how much of Star Wars is people just chasing people throughout the galaxy. It is just a constant like cat and mouse game through basically most of the films and the shows and everything.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, we're just gonna keep chasing each other. Hopefully they can't track us in hyperspeed. Like,
Yeah,
I
be
don't know.
interesting.
This show specifically has made me realize how much of the Star Wars is that.
I wonder if, like, in the future, you know, as they build more Star Wars things, if they'll do like, you know, a season or maybe like a 2 or 3 episode series where they're just stuck on like one planet or something like that. You know, more
Right? Like they have a whole universe. They have a whole galaxy. Let me see it. Let me see it. Or just, you know, reboot the Halo show. That's all I'm saying. Give me one of those two things. You know?
That was a
Just give me
hard
one of those
left.
two.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Blake, did you go already? You did already.
You
right?
did, yeah. That
Yeah,
is
I
us.
did, but it looks like we'll fill. It looks like Ty stepped away. But there are 2 things I wanted to point on real quick. One is just kind of in terms of what we're watching. I always mention like podcasts and things that I always listen to, and one of them is the Pivot podcast, which I think I referenced last time. They had Mike Tyson on there and things of that nature. So they'll have a lot of different athletes. This is by 3 former NFL players. 2 of them are super good. Were super good. One of them should probably be in the Hall of Fame. But nonetheless, they have different actors, athletes, things of that nature on there. But most recently, what I think Nathaniel would find interesting is they had, I got to pull the clip up. They had Sean O'Malley.
Sean O'Malley, Sugar Sean.
Yeah, Sean O'Malley, yeah, from UFC.
Yeah.
So they had him on there the day after the fight. So I think he fought Saturday,
He
and I
did.
know you're kind of into that lane. So,
Yes. Yeah. I saw
I
that
watched
fight.
about half of that episode, and it's good, man. And they just asked really inquisitive questions. One of them's been on ESPN the last like decade, so he's a great interviewer and can get intellectual questions out. I think it's something like if you were to put on, you'd be like, "Oh, this is good." Like I've never seen this side of this person before.
Sure.
Right? You know what I mean? So if you're into fighting, I think you get a kick out of it. It was a pretty good episode. I got.
What did you? What were your thoughts on Sean O'Malley? One of Tyler's favorite fighters, actually.
I mean, honestly, I had no idea who this person was right until it popped on the pivot, and then I was like, "Oh, okay, I'll turn it on." And then it was literally like, "This is the day after UFC." I forgot what fight it was.
276.
But yeah, he seems like a pretty smart dude. I mean, he's just kind of talking about his upbringing. He's been from Montana.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So he's like, I was fighting there for a while. Went to Phoenix at first. Thought I was the shit. Got my ass kicked. You know, so he was kind of like talking about those things. Just his whole thought process growing up and like how he views fighting and his marriage, things of that nature. But it was like super cool. Just you get to see the non like professional responses from people, right? So like which I've never seen his professional responses before, just not being in the fighting realm. But definitely somebody I was like, you know what, I can root for this guy. Like it was that strong of a podcast to me, you know. So
cool.
Yeah, I think you and Ty, for that matter, just for liking him, I think you guys would love that. So that's on the Pivot podcast. They're on YouTube.
For the record,
what's up?
I like him as a fighter. I do not think he's an overly good person.
Okay, sure.
He's a young kid and he's an interesting cat, but he's full of confidence. I think he's got, unfortunately, kind of like 2 or 3 fights in the UFC. He's a great talker and he's a great self promoter. He's got now about 2 or 3 fights in the UFC that have ended somewhat controversially. One in which he basically had his leg kicked off, and he insisted that he did not lose that fight, but he definitely did. And then this past weekend, and actually the other fight was pretty controversial as well, in which he poked his opponent in the eye, not on purpose, very much not on purpose, but that actually ended the fight because the other fighter couldn't see anymore, and he was claiming that he was faking it, which I do not agree with. But that's part of the fight game. You got to promote yourself. You got to make yourself like the biggest, baddest person out there. None of them are going to say like, "Hey, my fight that ended disappointingly was my fault" or anything like that.
Yeah,
so,
Nature of the game.
he'll definitely be around for a little while. The UFC really likes him, and when he's on, he is very, very entertaining to watch for sure.
Okay,
Sharp.
Gotcha.
He is indeed.
Yeah.
Really sharp fighter.
So yeah, that was one thing I wanted to mention, and then the other thing is when Adam got to us. That's one, like I said, I haven't seen since theater, but that's still probably one of the hardest laughs I've let out in the theater that wasn't in a comedy movie was in that. Is when I can't think of the family. The lady who's in Handmaid's Tale and Invisible Man. What's her name? See if I can pull it up.
Oh, I know you're talking about, but I can't think of the name.
Yeah, Handmaid's Tale is actually a great show. I watched that. Elizabeth Moss is her name. So yeah, so that's one of the hardest laughs I've let out in a theater, non-comedy. When she's getting killed, and she's like, "Alexa, call the police." It was like, okay, now play fucking police by NWO. Yeah, that kills me. And that I was dying when I saw that in theater. But yeah, that's all I think of when you mentioned Us. I was like, I want to rewatch that just to get that laugh again.
I forgot about that bit. That's an amazing bit.
That's an awesome scene for sure. But yeah, that's it.
Nice.
All right. Well, now that Ty's back, we can get on into the ranking, or not rankings. Well, I guess rankings, personal rankings.
Entropy list 2.
Entropy list, year in review 2. Part 2. Wait, I feel like that's not the trend in movies right now. It's not to do 2. It's colon.
Yeah.
Okay. Entropy list in entropy list colon.
The Return. Awakening.
Resurrection.
Resurrection.
Yeah, there we go.
There we go. I like it. Yeah. Welcome back to the Requel episode of Back Row Banter.
Yeah, you could have just called it that. Entropy list 2 Requel.
Requel. Okay, I like that. We'll do that. Anyway, let's do bottom 5s first. I think that's what we did last year. I think that's a little bit more fun to start with.
Okay. Sure. Who you want to kick it off?
You can, Blake. I want to hear what your bottom 5 is. I know what 5 is, I think.
Okay, so bottom, just so we're on the same page. So we're doing bottom 5. And top 5? Are we doing these in ascending order, or are we doing top 5 no order, bottom 5 no order? What do we?
My best movie is number 1 for top 5. My worst movie is number 5 for bottom 5.
Right, but I think you should build up to what your worst movie is.
Okay,
Correct.
I got you. I got you.
For top 5, it's obviously your best movie is number 1, and then
Right,
you should start
we're gonna go 5 to 1.
For bottom 5, I'm gonna do it where, however you want to do it, but count down to your bottom.
Your worst movie. Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
All right, so I had them. Didn't really have them in order, but I'm gonna take a glance at it and we'll kick it off. 5. Looking here, I'm probably gonna go Reminiscence.
Okay.
And that's because I was going through the entry list. I was going through our show notes, and I honestly forgot we even watched that movie. Like, that's how forgettable it was. When I saw that, I was like, oh my God, I did watch that. So that's when I was like, all right, that's got to be thrown in this chart of movies that are going to be in the bottom 5. A few made it out, so we'll touch on those later. 4, I'm going to go Eternals.
Okay.
Just from at that point, I was kind of marveled out. I still kind of am, to be honest with you. That movie didn't really bring anything new, in my opinion, and I think the masses pretty much agree with that as well. Well, that was just another movie, really long, not much going on. Didn't really care for the villain. It just, I don't know. It seemed kind of just like something Marvel just wanted to push out, in my opinion. Didn't really seem like they had their hearts behind it. After that, so third worst is going to be Halloween Kills.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, that was one I was
not
debating.
Shocked. You were hella low on Halloween.
Yeah, man. I went into that
you
one
did not
with,
like that movie.
Dude, definitely, Adam. I went into that with not like godlike expectations, but I mean, hey, I really liked Halloween 2018.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm okay. We should get something rolling, same to that. And it was just the first 10 minutes are really good when it takes us back to Halloween, was it 1978 or something of that nature, where they kind of got the old segment in that. That was really cool. Then after that, it just like really lost me. It's hard to gauge because it's technically like it's the second film in a trilogy, so it is a lot of filler, quote unquote. But it was just bad. I don't want people chanting "Evil Dies Tonight." It was just not a good movie, in my opinion. You know what I mean? It was
Yeah,
I don't know.
for a
Didn't like
movie
it.
that came out 3 years after the 2018 one, it really felt rushed, which was
Right.
just strange overall, especially like with
sure.
who was making it and it was the same writing team, same actors and all that kind of stuff. And it was
Yeah.
just like, why has it gone in this direction overall?
Totally different, dude, than Halloween
Yeah.
2018.
I agree.
So yeah, very, very disappointed when I walked out of theater on that one. I was like, wow. To the point where I haven't rewatched it, and I don't think I will rewatch that, to be honest with you. So that's kind of short and sweet on that. Second to last one, something we actually did rather recent. That's Jurassic World Dominion. I fucking hate that movie.
Okay.
I'll certainly never watch that again, to be honest with you.
No giant locusts for you? Come on, man.
No giant locust. I told you guys I was told that what is it? Gigantosaurus Rex was the largest carnivore to ever roam the earth
Rex.
2 times within a span of 15 minutes. I was told that, and I was just like, I just don't appreciate being talked to like this.
Looks like don't talk down to me like that.
Yeah, it was killing me.
Insult
So,
my
yeah,
intelligence.
Idiot.
Yeah, didn't like that. Didn't like everybody taking Chris Pratt's like the way he controlled like the raptors,
Yeah.
like, the hand thing. Yeah, like that's just like universal controlling all dinosaurs.
Wasn't
now.
that
It
weird?
just was not.
We didn't really. I'm not sure if we brought that up in the
We
review
did.
segment.
It fucking killed me when I was watching the movie.
He
I was
does
like,
it-
How is it working on a T-Rex?
He does it like
And-
5 times, like throughout the
Yeah.
film too. Yeah.
Yeah, and other people do it too. Who haven't even? I don't even think they've been trained to do that.
Right. Right.
So, yeah, that movie killed me, dude. And then last but not least, I think you guys can already assume because it hasn't been on there, Snake Eyes. And
Yep, there it is.
yeah, that movie. To quote Nathaniel, that movie, it was most likely just money laundering because he was like, "There's no way that movie cost $90 million or something like that." I forgot what the budget was, $86 million or something.
Yeah.
Dude,
But he was like, "There's no way they spent $86 million."
Imagine Hasbro's or whoever I guess Hasbro wouldn't be the ones to do it, but they're just trying to like get all their toy money laundered.
Yeah, that movie's really bad.
It is trash. It is not good.
Yeah. So yeah, that was kind of my top 5. A few quick ones I left out, or I say I guess they technically made the cut, right? Because they weren't the worst movies. And those were going to be Venom, Let There Be Carnage, just got cut. So that probably would have been about 7 or 8. Black Widow, for Florence Pugh reasons, I would not allow that to be in my bottom 5. And then The Matrix, the new one.
Resurrections.
Resurrections, yeah. That was awfully close to being thrown in there as well, but just having Keanu Reeves being back in that realm, and I was like, I'm okay with it. So
Fair enough.
All right.
that's bottom 5. I'm gonna pass it to somebody else and do bottom 5, or
Yeah,
should we?
popcorn
Yeah,
it.
Yeah,
let's go. Let's go, Adam.
All right,
I want to hear what Adam's thinking.
I am excited. This is. I should also clarify. I found the one that I was missing, Nathaniel. You are correct. It is 47. Somehow, I forgot a interesting film named Men.
Men.
Yeah, you've forgotten. That's okay, I get it.
Men.
Yeah. So I had to add that on there, but it really didn't affect my list at all for the top and bottom 5. And I will also say, as I start my bottom 5, that I did do my list on Letterboxd. And I did the full year 2. And so if you want to see how I ranked the full year 2 movies, you can go find that list on my Letterboxd. It's in the episode description.
Solid
All right.
plug.
Thank you. It's also on my Twitch. You can find twitch.tv/Age. You can find the list there. I did a live stream of me compiling the list. Anyway,
Not a bad plan for the future, to be honest with you.
No,
Right.
not at all.
all right. So we're gonna start. Bottom 5 would be 42 here. Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Oh,
Oh wow.
interesting.
Yeah, I mean,
It's not okay. I didn't start making this list intending for that to be.
I
that
hear
low.
you.
Yeah,
I
no,
hear
I
you.
get you.
Oh, you know what? Actually, I messed up. It should be 43 if I'm counting right. I guess my runner-up is Ghostbusters Afterlife. I'll tease into that.
Okay,
Sorry.
I got you.
But that is
Alright.
number 42 out of 47 on my list.
Okay.
Now, That movie is so like I don't remember anything that happened, and I saw that
Fair.
less than a year ago.
Fair, yeah,
You know, like I remember they did a CGI thing of the one dude who passed away, and then Bill Murray was there, and he was the only good part about that movie, and they had what is it Finn Wolfhard from Stranger Things?
Yep, he's in there.
That's what happened, I think, and so I just that I didn't intend for that to get to the bottom of my list so quickly, but
It did have
was there.
what's his name? I can't think of his name right now. Paul
Rudd.
Thank you, Paul Rudd.
Oh, it did have
He's
Paul
also
Rudd.
there,
Okay,
yeah.
Paul Rudd. Okay, that was a redeeming quality. I won't knock it for that. Paul Rudd was good in that movie.
Yeah, totally agree though.
All right.
Definitely a forgettable movie. When I
Yeah.
scrolled past it, I was like, yeah, it could certainly make this list. So I feel
Yeah, the other runner up there, right above Ghostbusters Afterlife, is The Last Duel. Fuck that movie.
Wow.
Moving on to my actual bottom 5, it's Reminiscence at number 5.
For sure, yeah,
Which I'm sure
definitely.
no one is shocked by. Blake, you also had it at number 5.
Mhm.
Again, a movie that like maybe I should put above Ghostbusters Afterlife because I actually remember more from that movie and I might have enjoyed that more. It was a shot in the dark, I think. Like that,
Okay.
you know, it wasn't a great result, but it had Rebecca Ferguson.
True.
It had Hugh Jackman. It
Very
had
true.
who's that other actor that we were talking about who's in Doctor Sleep? Isn't he in that?
Was
Do
it
you know who
Cliff,
I'm talking about?
was it Cliff Curtis?
Yeah, that sounds right. That sounds right. He's in there. And I feel like I should maybe switch this with Ghostbusters Afterlife. I'm not going to, but like looking at it now, maybe I should because we always talk about how we want new concepts, new ideas, and this was a
Really
shot
cool
at that,
concept though, for
right?
sure.
Yeah,
For
it
sure.
just there were some things that missed as far as like the story elements itself that I just didn't vibe with as well. But it was a good try, and I can't knock it for that. But just also not really remarkable in any way, in my opinion. So that's how it got knocked down there. Number 4 on my list is going to be Jurassic World Dominion.
Mm.
Jeff Goldblum just couldn't pull this one out of the shitter, I guess, and that's unfortunate. But that movie was just. I'm like, what am I watching? I don't know.
For
Why are
sure.
we on why is this Mission Impossible with dinosaurs? I didn't know there were street chases in Europe. Like, why are we doing this?
I forgot we didn't even touch on that either.
And
too. Yeah.
and
That
the
was
other thing we
crazy.
didn't touch on, that girl dressed in all white? She was mighty good with that laser pointer, dude. Like she's like doing it behind her back at Chris Pratt while he's on a
Yeah.
motorcycle and it's beaming him. I'm like, dude, what? And why is I don't know. I don't remember specifically how they say those laser pointers work, but how does the Raptor see that from like he's looking
They
one
didn't
way?
ex- yeah, they
I think
never
it's like a
established
chip in their
that.
head or something like that.
Is it the chip?
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I figured. So maybe I should just rewatch the other ones, but I think that'd be.
I think it's
more pain
sound
than it's
too.
worth.
It's supposed to be like
Okay, sure.
hypersonic or something like that. I think but that's more in Fallen Kingdom that they kind of talk more about that. I would
Correct,
say
with
as
the
well,
gun.
too. Yeah.
So yeah, just a bunch of bullshit in that movie. I mean, I don't need the T-Rex in the circle to give me the logo. Like, who needs that? I didn't. I mean, come on. Yeah, we if you want to hear more,
But it did
obviously all
have-
these reviews are up. So
It did have the cool Freddy Krueger dinosaur.
they did have the cool Freddy Krueger dinosaur. It was kind of a cool
I like that
fatality
name.
at the end. But I think we also discussed like the other two should have fought. Like
Yeah.
like, why did I don't need this like, oh, we teamed up, we're cool. Like, nah, these are apex predators. They do not team up. They do not like they're not just cool with each other because they took down the biggest one. Like, nah, they're gonna then it's who's best of those two. So that was a little disappointing. But yeah, that movie wasn't great. Excuse me as I cough really quick. Give me 1 second.
Do we need to pause for station identification? You're listening to
We do not.
Smooth.
Something I left out at the beginning of the show when talking about my weekend is that I got sick over the weekend and just decided to power through it. But now
Good
we're
for you.
here. Yeah. Couldn't waste a day. Not 4th of July, no sir. Let's see where are we? Number 3. Tyler, cover your ears. It's The Greatest Showman.
Wow.
So that's actually something I heavily contemplated, but it would have been so biased of me just because I don't like musicals. right? But that was like a gut of mine.
Well, this is the biased list. I mean, this is your time to be biased.
But I try to tightrope.
Yeah, I got you.
There were a few spots on here where I was like, okay, I can't really justify doing that much. But this was one where I was just like, I like musicals, but this is just so not what I enjoy. And I would say I might rewatch The Greatest Showman before Jurassic World Dominion. But that being said, I wouldn't really enjoy it.
Now let me pitch you this. All right.
All right. I'm listening.
The Greatest Showman.
Okay.
But every time they start to do, a number, J.K. Simmons walks on and just screams, "Not my tempo," and maybe throws like a chair at Hugh Jackman.
If we're starting the top fives, that is number one on my list. Actually, is Greatest Showman, J.K. Simmons,
Whiplash edition.
J.K. Simmons cut, actually.
Yeah.
That would be incredible. I feel like that should be a meme.
Yeah.
They just insert "not quite my tempo" on like random shit.
That'll be our first TikTok.
Okay, yeah, there you have it. No one copy that. We're starting.
That's our idea. Stop it.
Yeah, stop it. Stop. I don't want to rag on Greatest Showman too much. I know why people enjoy it. I understand, but none of the music was for me. None of the dance numbers did anything for me. It is what it is. Tyler, I love you.
That's okay.
And you can love that movie, but that's just not for me.
I get it.
All right.
You may be anti Rebecca Ferguson. She's also in The Greatest Showman as well.
Yeah,
right?
she is. Yeah,
very much. Yeah, okay.
She is.
Isn't Hugh Jackman in that too?
he is. Yeah, he's the main. He's the lead.
Okay, yeah, I guess. Yeah.
I didn't realize I put the Hugh Jackman movies both at the bottom.
Just hate that pairing.
I guess so. We need to get her Mission Impossible movies on this list because then I'll prove her worth with those.
Yeah.
We have her in Dr. Sleep, which I think is pretty high on the other list.
And she's in another film on here.
But I also, if you remember, was the lowest on Dr. Sleep. So maybe I do hate Rebecca Ferguson.
Yeah.
I don't think I do, but maybe I just have some subconscious.
The list is saying otherwise, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, my bad. All right. Number is it 2?
Yeah.
Number 2 here on my list. Venom, Let There Be Carnage.
Venom.
Yeah.
Venom.
I could see that one coming. That was close. That was my first one out.
Yeah,
that movie sucks.
Yeah, it's just again another movie I like barely remember, and there's just so much they could do with Venom and like that property, but they chose to do like Woody Harrelson, like. I don't know.
It was another one that kind of felt rushed too, as well.
Yes, definitely.
Well.
It was what, a 90-minute runtime?
Like 82 maybe. Like it felt. I remember it being really short.
It was snappy. It was snappy, and I appreciate that because it was not good, and so the less of that, the better.
I agree.
Maybe if they had more to play with, like it would have been better. You never know. I don't know.
97 minutes.
Do you like that more than Venom? What is that, 2018 or something?
I honestly might like the first one more.
I think I'm with you.
I like
not
the
by
second
much.
one. I think the second one's a more functional movie. Whereas like the first one is the most boring movie in the world for 45 minutes and then goes batshit insane in the last half. Before having a incredibly awesome fight for 2004 as the climax.
All of that's very fair, but instead they give us, I don't know. I just had.
No, I'm with you.
We'll see what they can do. I'm not really looking forward to a third one, but if they somehow get him in the MCU, I'd be intrigued. But they did put him in the MCU, and then they took him out immediately. Like I don't know what they're doing.
That was dumb.
Sony, I don't know what you're doing. Just sell Spider-Man, please. Just sell it. Just cash out. I'm sure Disney will pay for it. Just name your price, please. Anyway. And then at the bottom of my list, it's no surprise to anyone. It's Snake Eyes.
Snake Eyes.
God.
For sure.
I will say I do remember that movie being somewhat fun with its style of bad guys, where they just throw bad guys at you like it's a video game, and that was kind of
very anime-ish.
Had a big snake. There was a big snake in there at some point.
I think 2 big snakes. If
3,
I could be,
maybe. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, there's definitely a pit.
There was 3, I think.
and he like catches himself by like a fucking string hanging on the side of the snake hole. Yeah. Unbelievable.
Yeah, no, it just meh. It was just
that movie's bad. Definitely bad.
Like,
for sure.
I don't know. It was watchable. I would say that at least. I maybe it's not at the top of like my bottom 5 because I think I'd actually probably go back and watch that before I'd rewatch like The Greatest Showman or Venom. But
Greatest Showman just
I think you're crazy to watch that before you watch Venom.
I don't know. Maybe I'd have to rewatch it to find out because I don't remember it being like.
Is it one that's so bad you could watch it like with friends and like a couple drinks? If you
put it in that realm. Right. For
like
sure.
Like 4 or 5 friends, a 6-pack, and you're just like sitting back making fun of it the whole time.
For sure.
It might work in that context, but yeah.
Yeah, not great. But that is my bottom 5. I'm sure that, if you ask me on any given day, those could change up. But those are definitely, I think, in my opinion, the worst movies of the last year. And I don't know. Maybe sub in maybe Ghostbusters Afterlife or The Last Duel in there somewhere, and then you're good.
Where did Eternals end up for you? Since Blake, that's the one missing
not
out of
nearly
that.
as low. 34 out of 47.
Okay.
I had it below Uncharted and above Lightyear.
Fair enough.
Okay. So for the most part, though, the same consistencies are Reminiscence being bad, Snake Eyes being bad, Jurassic World Dominion being bad.
Yeah, that is the overlap so far. We'll see how many of those overlap on Nathaniel's list.
Let's do it.
What up, folks? I'm Nathaniel, and this is my bottom 5 list. So honorable mention goes to at 41 and 42, Venom, Let There Be Carnage, and Reminiscence. Both of those just being kind of stinkers, as we've kind of addressed so far, for sure.
Okay.
And then I'm going to kick it off at 43 with Jurassic World Dominion. Just in again, kind of a disappointment context. Again, you're going to be the last movie in this new trilogy or this kind of like final end of the Jurassic saga, however you want to call it. And you shit the bed. So, like, what are you going to do with that one, folks? At 44, I have The Eternals. Again, kind of like failed expectations, really? I think. I remember being like, at the time, I'm pretty much defending that movie in some ways. I don't think it's awful, but again, for what it was set up with and how it's left the Marvel universe, like, what do you do with those characters now? Because no one cares about them. And they are like, have been positioned in this place of like a certain power level and a certain level of involvement. And I just don't know how they're going to bring that back around. Do you split them up? Do you have different ones there? I mean, I think a couple of them might have died in that movie. I don't know. I can't remember.
Yeah, nobody remembers, right?
I don't know.
And Blake was like talking about the villain earlier, and I was like, who was the villain in that movie?
It was the guy who
wasn't there like 2 villains?
He like took people's powers.
Right.
And like stick his fingers into them.
Yeah, he was like the Silver Surfer. I don't know.
Basically,
he looked like the Silver Surfer. He looked like the Silver Surfer meets Ultron.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Who I think was played by Bill Skarsgård of Pennywise fame.
He was.
But yeah.
The villain was?
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So yeah, Eternals, not great. And like I said, for me, that's also like not necessarily as a functional movie it's down there, but again, where it's kind of left the Marvel universe now is also partly why I have it down there. And following along that line, at 45, I have Halloween Kills as well.
Okay.
Similar to Blake, too. I love the 2018 Halloween, and this was awful. And had some just odd choices, felt rushed. It kind of felt like they just didn't have an idea for a sequel, and they just put stuff out there, and they're like, put something together, we'll fix it on the third one. And that's not a great way to make movies, but and making movies is hard. Like we're ripping on these movies here quite a bit, and deservedly so in some ways because they're expecting us to come out and pay money for this. But I understand, there's hundreds of people working on these movies, and a lot of them are putting forth their best effort and trying to make everything as good as they possibly can. But when you're making movies, there still needs to be some substance there, and I don't think there was any substance on that one. So At 46, an old favorite, maybe a bit of a shocker, but I have Snake Eyes right there at 46. So my second worst movie of the year. My big memory of that movie is that like it felt like half of it was shot on an iPhone, if not more, and like in like in extreme close up too. There are so many shots in this that are just of people neck up talking to each other, and it's like this is the most visually uninteresting film I have watched in forever.
The one scene where she's like talking like on the FaceTime is one of the most awkward fucking shots in the world.
It's so
I
bad.
I can't remember how it looks, but it just looks so bad.
There are made-for-TV movies that are way better than this thing, and it is astonishing to me that they are released in a movie that is released out into theaters and everything like that, and it's just that's all I have to say about that movie. And following up with that and coming in at my lowest ranking movie of the year, again, kind of like for what we've referenced before, I genuinely forgot we saw this movie. I genuinely forgot this movie existed, and that is Uncharted. Just a dog shit
Really?
film.
You think that was the worst?
You put that as the
movie?
worst? Yeah.
Yeah, I really did.
Disagree.
It is so shitty.
That was watchable. That was very watchable. I didn't love it. It was
I
not a
don't know
great
if
movie.
watchable is a word that I would use, but I don't think it was the worst movie that we've seen.
Look, of all the movies that we have talked about at the bottom of these lists, that I would rewatch before any of them.
You could rewatch it. There's not a good time I had during that movie though. Like I feel like I've soured on it as I've gone on there, but I can't remember the plot of that movie. I don't want to remember the plot of that movie.
Was there a plot?
There is no plot. It's Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg.
Like, and just the whole thing of like trying to start a franchise and a franchise based off of a video game and just like fucking stop it. Do something else. Like video games are not movies. They take 8 hours and or at least and are
right.
You are experiencing the story and interacting with it. It just doesn't translate the same way to a movie. That thing just felt lifeless to me. All of the CGI was bad. It's another Sony movie that I think looks like shit, like from a cinematography standpoint. Mark Wahlberg sucks. He should start working out earlier in the morning and grow a bigger mustache if he's going to be Sully. Wake up at 3 a.m. and spread some Rogaine on his lip. Tom Holland, he looked good. Doesn't look like Nathan Drake. Doesn't carry it like Nathan Drake. Not as much charisma as Nathan Drake.
I mean, he even said he didn't really have a good time.
There you go. So I didn't hear that, but yeah, and just everyone else.
He said he didn't take it as seriously and didn't learn as much as he wanted to from the role or something like that.
Yeah, well, fair enough.
He felt like he was phoning it in, and he regrets phoning it in.
Directed by the director of Venom, Ruben Fleischer, the original Venom, not the new one. And Venom. I think that movie sucks. So it is at the bottom of my list.
Wow. All right.
Tyler, round us out for the bottom.
Yeah, so obviously there are some similarities between the four of us. So I'll go ahead and kind of give you my my roundabout here. So not surprising, Jurassic World Dominion.
Okay.
Number 5.
Yep.
All right.
So yeah, not that great of a movie as we've kind of explained, and I will also play off of Nathaniel's point. Being the last movie in said franchise, I think you should spend a little bit more time. You have a lot of things to play with here, and I think this could have been done way better. So that definitely makes my list. One that I really didn't see on the list that I thought would be on her a little bit more. I did not fucking click with Men at all.
Oh my god,
really,
dude! That movie just did not. We didn't mesh well.
That's fine. I can totally understand that. Like we knew that that's what we said during our review is like this is not for everyone, and I can totally understand that. Like I can't be that mad. I don't think it like even if you don't like it, I don't think there are movies worse than this on that list. Even when you don't drive with it.
I think a lot of my movies always will kind of pertain to my rewatchability, and this is just a movie that I just don't see myself going back to. Nathaniel, my first one was Jurassic World Dominion, obviously, as you can imagine, and then my next one was Men. I just didn't.
Oh, okay.
I didn't care.
Yeah.
I didn't fucking care. Man, I still don't care.
And that's definitely a movie that has been controversial to say the least. I think as well too. There's a lot of people that go that direction on it, and a lot of smart people too. People that I respect and have great opinions of, like Tyler. So
thank you.
Fair enough.
Next on my list is The Matrix Resurrection. Like, just what a fucking pile of shit.
Wow.
Yeah. I was close to breaking down Madden, man. But yeah. I'm with you. That
Spoiler
movie is
alert
just-
for that one. I actually put that movie. I tried to put that movie like directly in the middle of my list this year because I just don't know how I feel about that movie. Like, I need to watch it again, and I think really just kind of marinate on it a little bit.
I've actually feel like I've been more positive on it as it's gone, like time has gone on.
What?
I don't know. I don't think it's like
We were
terrible.
robbed not having Hugo Weaving as Agent Smith.
That is true.
Okay.
For sure.
Yeah.
And that
I forgot about
alone
the whole-
makes
I
me
forgot
want
about
to
the
say
whole
forever.
Agent
fucking
Smith.
Dude, like, especially things that like have a format now and they have a franchise and like it you have so much to work with, and the first one was so good. It was like groundbreaking.
Right.
I still
that
feel like
I don't see how you can come up with something like this.
I still feel like that movie exists as a director saying, "Hey, you idiots, you all took the wrong ideas or like learned the wrong lessons from the first
100%.
one of this one." And that makes me kind of respect it a little bit more, you know?
Yeah.
Like to just like it just throws its nuts on the table and is like, "Hey, this is what I wanted to do and this is what we did." And but I also understand where like if you grew up with The Matrix and like that was, you know, that formative movie for you, that's going to be one of those DNA movies, I definitely can see how that's just not even close, you know.
No. Just shooketh.
Yeah, especially what it was sold as too, I think as well.
100%.
Holiday
I was hyped on
release
it.
too and everything. It was just
Yeah.
a lot of anticipation.
Yep. So I will agree with Nathaniel that Uncharted is also garbage.
Oh my god, no! What is going on over
Fist
here?
bumping.
Did y'all consult on your lists? Like, we're just
No,
gonna shit on
actually.
these movies.
The only redeemable quality that Uncharted has is the only thing that they tied in from the game to the movies was the shots where every time they ended up at a new location was they had the big white lettering onto where they
Yeah,
were.
that was
And I'm
cool.
like, that's cool. I was like,
For sure.
that actually happens in the game. So
Sure.
I'm like,
For
that's
sure.
fucking cool. Other than that, garbage.
It just-
For sure.
that was a movie that like we genuinely saw it, and by like 3 weeks later I'd forgotten. I forgot
I don't
that
even
movie
like I don't even
existed.
remember wanting to watch it.
Yeah.
A single tear is rolling down Adam's cheek right now.
No, I don't. It's
Yeah.
not like I love this movie. I'm gonna defend it to the end of my days, but I just think there are worse movies on this list.
You also do like Uncharted though. The games.
Yes, but I don't like them to the point where I didn't even finish the fourth one. It's like
Yeah.
I like them, but I'm a fan.
They're
but
great
I don't-
games.
Yeah.
No
They are,
no
for
doubt
sure.
about it. But that one should have stayed on the shelf.
But again,
Yeah.
there's a format there. Consult with somebody. Don't just fucking
That's
throw
valid.
things in front of things and call it a
cough
movie.
cough Halo. Fucking sorry.
I agreed.
Yeah.
And then last but not least, Snake Eyes.
Yeah.
Is that Snake Eyes in the
This-
bottom of 3? No, because it was
What was that,
your
Nathaniel?
bottom one, Adam, or no?
What did you say?
Was Snake Eyes the bottom one for you as well too?
Yeah, that was my top.
All right.
Yeah. Snake Eyes is the worst film for me, Adam, and Tyler,
Okay.
and the second worst film for you.
Yes.
So basically, on a scale, for
Snake
sure, the
Eyes.
worst film. So
Yeah, it's just super forgettable. That was actually funny because I actually did text Nathaniel earlier in the week, and I was like, for some odd reason, I couldn't access the OneDrive, so I was like, "Can you just shoot me the movie?" So he screenshotted everything and then shot them over to me, and I was like, "Oh, good." So I can put Snake Eyes on my list.
Yeah.
yeah. No, I'm with you on most of those. The men one kills me though, as you guys would
Yeah.
expect. But as a whole, though, fellas, I am okay that we don't have Malignant in the bottom 5 because like Nathaniel said about Men, that's a lot of people are very up in the air about Malignant and Men
for sure.
In terms of very controversial, some people are like, "Oh, this is fucking phenomenal. It's a homage back to old horror." Men, it's phenomenal, right? You can see the plays and tropes of the gender of men versus women and things of that nature. And there's other people who are just like, this movie's not for me. So I don't agree, but I hear you. But I rather would have seen Men there opposed to Malignant. So
fair enough.
Yeah, it's actually funny too because I asked Nathaniel, I was like, how far up on Blake's list do you think Malignant's gonna get?
What was his answer?
I don't know.
We didn't give one because top five is kind of hard.
Dude, yeah. So we'll get to that.
We'll get there. Yeah.
So, well, I'm glad that for a majority, Jurassic World made it onto everybody's, and Snake Eyes made it onto everybody's.
Yeah, for sure.
With Reminiscence
we can all agree on something fine.
Venom hanging around there too.
Yeah, somewhere in that area, sifting to the bottom.
I also had Antlers pretty low as well too, in terms of just kind of disappointment as well.
That was my fourth one out.
Yeah, I just had that one with right above Venom as well too. But then, and then like I think there's a pretty hard break after kind of like that 37 mark or whatever, where the movies just get way better as they kind of go up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to sit down and make a full list for year 2. Just to kind of see where everything falls. So,
Adam, I don't remember you hating The Last Duel that much.
No, I did not like it, and it got worse with time.
Well, okay. Fair enough.
Yeah, that was a strong stance as well. A little surprising.
Why are we doing Mad Men in the 14th century? I don't get it.
Oh yeah, you hated the language. That's right.
Yeah, the writing and Matt Damon just feels like a fish out of water, which it never feels like he's a fish out of water.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
What a fun game.
Anyway, let's head on over to the top fives now.
The positives
instead of bottom fives. Yeah.
You want me to just go first because I ended?
Let's snake it back around.
Let's snake it back around. I like that.
All right, so we'll
before we go. Any runner-ups or honorable mentions?
I did not do any honorable mentions. I didn't even do a full list. I just did top 5, bottom 5. So
all right. Fair enough.
Shoot me if you want.
Yes, I will.
So
what are we looking at? 5.
Starting at 5. Might be a little bit of a hot take. I know Nathaniel might be with me on this one, but I'm putting Pig in there.
Hey.
Oh wow. Okay, didn't expect that at all.
Pig's a fucking awesome movie, dude.
I'm with it.
Okay.
Awesome movie.
That's Nick Cage and Alex Wolff, right?
That's the one. Yep.
Yeah, that was good. That was pretty good. Yeah.
So I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was the cooking aspect or just kind of like the telling of the story and just kind of also seeing Nick Cage's journey, even though we didn't even have to go back to like certain points.
Sure.
And you still have questions that kind of need to be answered about, his relationship with his wife, where the pig kind of came from. Was it a gift? And there's so many different things that are still so good about this movie. Pig's in my top 5, man. Pig's a great movie.
Excellent choice.
This also might be a little bit controversial. I don't know if somebody maybe had this a little bit higher up on their list, but at number 4, I am going to put The Batman.
Ooh.
I figured that. Sir. Yeah, I figured this would be in most people's top 5s.
I definitely figured. I just didn't know where people were going to put it. Sure. I definitely don't think it's 1 or 2. I think somebody might probably have it at like a 3, but I think a 4 is either a 4 or a 5 is probably a pretty good set for it. And I was kind of arguing with myself a little bit between 4 and my 3, but I think it's a solid 4 for me for sure.
Yeah, okay. Definitely a solid 4.
So killer movie, dude. I've already watched it again since it's been out of theaters and on HBO.
I should rewatch it.
I thoroughly enjoy it from start to finish, and I can't wait to see what they do with this version of Batman because it's always very it's more appealing to me from just the one movie that people put out to what the character develops as, especially when you get into somebody that has such a dense background like Batman.
Of course.
So it's very cool.
And what their take is on it and stuff. I really liked their
Yep.
kind of like choice to go with like more like the 80s Grant Morrison style in some ways too. I thought the Batsuit looked awesome. Just a really good aesthetic as well too. Very interesting.
Soundtrack fucking still super good. So yeah, I love a lot that they did with this movie. So I'm a big fan. Number 3. And again, this might be a little controversial, and I don't know what you guys are gonna think, and I really don't care, but I'm going Dune, number 3.
Blake fist pumps in the background.
I was waiting on it. I was hoping for it, but I was waiting on it.
I think this movie has so much potential as to what it is now and what the trilogy is going to grow into. That I'm very excited, and I've been hyped on this movie since it got announced. I've been hyped on this movie since it got delayed a bajillion times. I'm still hyped on this movie. This is a solid movie.
Yeah, that movie is spoiler. That's what I was on what I was watching. So that's what I rewatched this week.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That movie's fucking awesome, man. The movie looks phenomenal. There's just so many scenes that from the casting, Skarsgård, Oscar Isaac, Rebecca Ferguson, who we now realize Adam hates, is in there as well. So yeah, good movie. I love this scene where they go to what are they called? The Sadukar, like the army generals, and like they're talking like in that deep bass like the whole time. It's like is their dialogue the whole time. I love that scene, man. Yeah. Great movie. And to you guys' point, somebody brought it up. One of the cooler spaceships that we've seen recently. Dragonfly spaceships too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I'm with you on that, man. Super support.
Well, I'm sure most people can guess what my top 2 are going to be. But this was actually relatively hard for my top 2. But 2 is going to be Starship Troopers.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's so good. As many times as I've watched this movie, and I've been able to grow up with this movie because I saw it when I was relatively young.
Yeah.
There are still so many things that I connect with. It's still super relevant. It looks fucking awesome still. It's aged really, really well. And there's still just so much to it that, like, as I grow, and we've talked about this on the podcast, as I grow and my mindset changes, there are still so many things that I click with on this movie, and it's going to continue to grow with me. This thing is like fine wine. I'm going to age, and it's going to age, and we're going to grow old together, and I fucking love this movie.
Fair enough. Agreed.
Those are all very valid points.
Number 1.
I think I know it.
Jurassic Park.
Yeah, I was already typing it out. I was already typing it down. Yeah. Let me hear it. All right, let me hear it.
It's a masterpiece. It's so close to perfect because, as we know, perfect is so hard to get.
Sure.
But this movie is just on another level, especially for what else is on this list. Obviously, from our first year, we'd have a couple different fisticuffs that this movie could throw down with. But from what we've put out this year 2, Jurassic Park has been a banger, and I'd be surprised. I mean, I'm sure you guys will have some other kind of stuff up there at number 1, but from a purely enjoyment, how well it's aged, the rewatchability, and just a movie that's full from start to finish. This is number 1.
Yeah,
Boom.
It's hard to argue against that. Hard to argue against it because you're right. It is damn near perfect.
It's incredible, and I'll continue to watch it. My kids will watch it.
Yeah, I think that's a timeless classic. I think that'll stay around for a while.
DNA movie,
right?
Dino DNA.
Dino
DNA. All right, let's continue this little snaky.
Who popcorn to me?
Nathaniel.
Was it Nathaniel?
I did. Yes.
All right, runner up there, bud.
How far do you want me to go on my runners up here, Adam?
I would probably cap at top 10. That's what I
Okay.
plan on doing. So like you can do 5 runner-ups, or let's just do 5. Even if it's not in the top 10 or whatever.
Yeah. So I guess what I had up there at number 10, I had Green Knight.
Okay.
At number 9, I actually had Malignant. Just a fun movie.
I'm surprised you were not nearly as positive on that as me and Blake were.
I just want to watch it again. I think the other.
Okay.
But yeah, I just James Wan. What are you gonna do? I enjoyed it.
James Wan.
At 8, I had the Suicide Squad.
Oh wow!
What are we? Some type of Suicide Squad?
Not that Suicide Squad. The other Suicide Squad.
Okay.
But yeah, I just really enjoyed that movie. It's just an easy one for me to throw on and watch as well too. And I like the style of it. I like the storyline, and I thought it hit the emotional bits too. So I like that movie a lot. At number 7, I had Dune. Old Denny V showing up in the top 10. Really liked it. I'm really happy he just was like, "Yep, it's part 1. Suck it, guys." And didn't try to squeeze it all in there, but and I'm happy it's getting a sequel, and I will be very interested to see how that all compiles as one movie for sure. At number 6, so rounding out my top 10 honorable mentions, I have The Lighthouse.
Hey.
Okay.
One of my favorites. I think I campaigned for this one on the pod at some point, if I'm not mistaken. I just really think Pattinson and Dafoe are on another level in that one. Super weird. Definitely kind of a thinker, but one that I have seen probably 3 or 4 times now, and kind of like it. It's always one that is just kind of in the back of my mind as well too, of just like, wow, that was a crazy experience. So yeah, at number 5, I have Pig. Actually, so Tyler and I think we tied for that one at number 5. I really love that movie. I really think Nick Cage is incredible in it. It's like the anti-John Wick in some ways. Just a great meditation on sadness and growth, and just kind of moving on with your life. And I don't know. I just thought it was a really touching story. I thought Nick Cage has never been better than he is in that movie, and just I found the ending to be so cathartic and so touching in a lot of ways that I just really enjoyed that one a lot. At number 4, I have Starship Troopers. Just as Tyler has said, a movie that I feel like is possibly even more relevant today. It's weird how well it has aged in terms of like our life and how we interact with things. You have the "Would you like to know more?" and like all of the news clips at the start of it. It's maybe the most one that I've seen most recently on the list out of my top 5s. Or no, Pig's up there too as well too. But just for a movie that I have really only seen in the last 2 years or so for the first time, for it to come out like that and just blow me away in that ways, and just growing up with one idea of that movie and then having it like prove to be so biting and so satirical on the other side of it, I really, really enjoy that movie quite a lot. And I think it's great, and I will definitely be watching it again. At number 3, I have what may be kind of a controversial pick. I have Weathering with You.
Hey.
Oh, wow. Okay.
There you go.
Again, just in terms of like rewatchability in a lot of ways too, and just kind of those big-hearted stories I think I've referenced to a couple different times. It's another kind of another hit for the director. I think that's Shinkai. Yeah, Makoto Shinkai.
Wait, that doesn't sound right to me, but you might be right.
Yeah, looking at the Letterboxd page, I might be pronouncing it wrong. It's Makoto
You might be
Shinkai.
right. You're probably right, though.
But yeah, I think that's a really great movie. A great soundtrack. Great storyline overall. Maybe not to the same quality as Your Name, as we've kind of talked about a couple different times on there. But it also could be one of those things of which one do you watch first, and which one do you like?
I know. I need more guinea pigs to test that out, because the one time I showed Weathering with You before I showed Your Name, they liked Weathering with You more. So
yeah,
we have to test this hypothesis.
We need a control group out there. If anyone wants to volunteer. At number 2, Number 2, my second favorite movie of the personal entropy list 2022. Original Scream.
All right. Okay.
Another kind of one of those DNA movies that I've talked about a lot as well too. Great starter horror in some ways as well, but like even then you kind of have to watch horror ahead of time to kind of enjoy it in some ways too, but it can be either or.
You're absolutely right. That's why Scream is awesome, right? Because like it's the easy starter horror kit for somebody, but then it's also awesome if you love horror.
Yeah, exactly.
It hits on all the tropes, and like that's actually very difficult to do, and Scream pulls it off.
Yeah.
Just, definitely agree, dude.
Wes Craven, what are you going to say, I guess, guy? I mean, he's a legend, absolutely. And I think, with the new one they proved that concept still has legs to it and can still go as well, too.
For sure.
And, I mean, you're never going to beat the original, but it's definitely, a personal fave of mine, and that's what this list is for. So, number 2, I got Scream. And then at number 1, as I'm sure no one is shocked by, I have Jurassic Park.
Let's go, baby.
I knew that was a lock.
Yeah.
I was a betting man.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would probably be the lowest odds you would get that day or anything like that.
Yeah, minus 10,000 is guaranteed on that one.
Yeah. I mean, what are you going to say that we haven't already said before? That's a movie that made me love movies and just, has something I've grown with over the years as well, too. Every time you come back to it, there's always something else in there as well. Spielberg's on another level in that one. Everyone on the acting side of things is working so well together. The chemistry is great. The music is amazing. The special effects have aged astonishingly well for a movie that was in 93 or 94, whenever it is. And, really broke ground on CGI and what was capable at the time and what would become capable. And just, it's a great movie. And I've been reading the book again recently, and I've been enjoying that as well, too. So, yeah, that is my top list for this year, folks. I will kick it on over to Blake. Or was it? No, it was Adam. It was Adam. I'm sorry.
Damn, you fumbled. You fumbled the snake.
I fumbled it.
Fumblerooski.
All right. So yes, I'm very excited to get into this. I'm going to start with the honorable mention. I'm going to start with the honorable mentions, of course. We're gonna start off. Number 10, I had Malignant. I had to throw that in there, in the top 10. Very fun. We talk about new ideas. This was just something I'd never seen before. It was a perfect blend of genre. You just had so many different genres thrown into one. The twist was
insane.
Yeah, twist was pretty insane. I think someone said they saw it coming. Might have been Tyler. And I had my ideas where I was like, something. This is right. Something's happening. But that being said, like, still really good. Even if the twist wasn't maybe as good as some people want it to be. Yeah, very fun movie. Had to throw that in there.
Yeah.
Number 9, Top Gun Maverick.
I'm surprised nobody else had that in there, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that was just so much fun. Like, what a ride. What a ride. And just so many more improvements upon the first one, and it's just a modern version of what we would see if maybe the first one was made today. And I don't care if it's just the Death Star run, and I don't care if they are just fighting unnamed enemy pilots, because it's fun, and Tom Hanks is amazing and timeless. So
Tom Cruise.
What did I say?
Tom Hanks.
Yeah, that's hilarious. I am very sick, ladies and gentlemen. I took a lot of Dayquil, so we're a little loopy, but we're gonna power through. Tom Cruise. Number 8 is Training Day. Had to throw this one in there.
Like it.
Love it. Yeah,
love it.
Yeah. That just caught me so off guard. I knew I was gonna really enjoy it, but I didn't think it just was not what I was expecting at all going into that movie. And talk about twists, man. Shit. That was just a very fun one, and I don't know if I've seen a better Denzel performance than that movie, to be honest. I haven't seen everything he's been in because he's been in so goddamn much, but of all the things I've seen with him, that's probably my favorite. Number 7, it might shock Nathaniel, but it's actually Weathering with You.
Oh,
Did
okay.
not it did not get into the top 5. If it was Your Name, it would have been number 1 probably or close to it. But yeah, this one I just don't like as much as Your Name.
No, that's fair.
And looking once we get into these top 6 movies that I have, like top 5 and the next one, which I'll get to in a second here, but I just was like, I need these ones to be above Weathering with You, because Your Name would be the one that I would push, and Weathering with You is just under that, but I couldn't justify putting it in my top 5 when I have so many other movies that I really wanted to get in there. That being said, number 6, the last honorable mention / runner-up, is of course Spider-Man No Way Home. Now, this I think is a perfect
Wow.
spot for it, because I couldn't like not put it close to the top 5, but I also couldn't like justify putting that movie into the top 5, because after, of course, we've given it some time, it has not aged the best. I think we reviewed that on a crazy sugar rush of emotions.
I
at
would
least
agree.
I did. And looking back on that objectively, there are some things wrong with that movie, and that's I'm still today, as we're recording this, very willing to forgive that movie for all of the mistakes, because they gave me everything I could have asked for with a movie like that, and it was is Spider-Man's my favorite superhero. You know, the thing I watched growing up so much. Tobey Maguire, and then going to Andrew Garfield, just having all of that merge into one place, it was just magical, and they captured it. And while it has its flaws, it was all worth it. But the flaws was what prevented me from putting it in the top 5. That being said, the top 5, coming in at number 5, is a little film called Dune.
Denny V.
Denny B cracking the top 5. Rebecca Ferguson redeeming herself
Okay, fair.
in the
Yeah,
top
fair.
5. So keep that in mind as well. But yeah, I think Blake said it the best, where it's just like all these different aspects that you could expect from or want from a sci-fi film. And I think we said this during the review, but you could take just about any frame in this movie and put it up on a
looks
wall,
so
and it would be a
good.
piece of art. Like any frame, even if it is just the dialogue of the characters, just like, I don't care what it is. Like, there's like, you're just watching 2.5 hours of like Van Gogh, or the equivalent. Like, it is just masterful.
Mhm.
It really is. I can't wait to keep reading this book, because I have started the Dune book. I'm not very far
Okay.
into it. But reading it has already made me start to want to like rewatch this, and actually start to like itch for a second one, because I feel like I'm gonna learn so much more about the movie itself, and like understand so much more, that watching it again, I could very well see Dune shooting like way up to the top of like maybe even
Mhm.
like top 10 of my favorite movies, because I already like it so much, and then adding that additional layer of understanding, I think, will just help me enjoy it so much more, and then on top of that, enjoy the sequels. I don't know how many they're doing, but yeah, Dune had to be in the top 5. One that was very close, that I was deliberating between which one was 4, which one was 5. These two could probably interchange each other on either day, but I decided today that I'm putting The Batman at number 4.
Mm, okay.
I mean, what a superhero movie. This is,
Not surprising.
yeah, this is just so refreshing in a world oversaturated with Marvel and mediocre DC films, and here we are with something almost just as artful as Dune. Cinematography is incredible, and the aesthetic of the Gotham, and all of the characters and the costumes, and just everything that they went for was so like I can't say I want to say fun, but it wasn't fun, but it was just fun to watch. And just so much enjoyment out of that, and talk about a film that like lived up to the expectations. Like,
That is
I
true. I'll give you that. High
yeah,
expectations and it delivered,
and
which
it
it's
delivered.
got to
And
count for
you know,
something.
I don't know if it beats out The Dark Knight for me. I think we're gonna have to just give it some time.
No.
We're gonna have to give it some time. But I don't think it does, and that's okay. I think it's gonna be so hard for a movie to do that,
I agree.
a
Nothing wrong
Batman
with
or
that
a
at all.
superhero film. And yeah, and agree. That's okay. That doesn't mean this isn't still one of the best superhero films ever made. Like, I love it. It was great, and Robert Pattinson was great. I love the fact that it's called The Batman, and we see the Batman more than we see Bruce Wayne. Like, we
Mhm.
do not see Bruce Wayne. we see just the Batman and what he's doing, and it's a great detective movie. It's just the buddy cop relationship between him and Gordon and Jeffrey Wright's just incredible. Like I could keep going. I could keep going for a while, so I'll stop myself there. But yeah, number 4 is the Batman. Moving on here, we're getting into the top 3. It's I don't know if you guys would expect me to put this here. I think you could probably guess it, but it is Starship Troopers.
Oh wow!
Okay.
Let's go, baby.
Let's go. Man, we talked about like Training Day being a film that came out of nowhere. This is just one that I did not expect to fall in love with immediately. Like the outset of this film, like less than 25 minutes in, I'm like, this is fucking awesome. And then it gets better. And then it has the audacity to get better, and just every aspect of it, both the film itself and how much fun it is, and the rompiness of the love story and how silly that kind of is, but then that extra layer of film theory and of criticism on the military and all that kind of stuff. Like, it is so complex, but yet so simple, and the fact they can do both things so well that's also just masterful. Like, what a great story to tell, what a so many small details throughout the film where I could just go in and nitpick and do a whole I could talk for do like a whole director's cut basically of things I noticed in that film and things I'll probably notice again on a rewatch. And it's just that film I just came away from like almost jaw dropped. Like, I just wanted to rewatch it immediately because I was like so in love with it. So that takes a special film to do, and this had to be in my top 5, and so it's coming in at number 3. Number 2 and number 1, both.
I have an idea of what's coming.
You do have an idea of what's coming,
and I think you think I know.
You know exactly.
I agree wholeheartedly.
Okay,
so
I'm glad we're on the same page because yeah, we're gonna get to it now. There are 2 films that Blake and I have adored, have talked up quite a bit on this podcast, both before, during, and after the reviews of them. Number 2 is The Green Knight. And this was just, again, so refreshing in the sense that we, like I said before, like Reminiscence, we're always just looking for new stuff. And while we've seen period pieces before and that kind of thing, this was just such a like well done mix of a period piece and a fantasy and great cinematography and just a great story in and of itself of the hero's journey from bottom to the redemption and learning along the way and all that kind of stuff. Just what a fun movie.
It's interesting. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, what were you gonna say?
Oh, it just says it's interesting. We're looking for something new, and it's like, well, we've just, and for a lot of us, I think too, it's like The Green Knight is one of the oldest stories around. Like,
sure. Oh, no.
It
is a bit ironic. And no, it's definitely a bit ironic that I'm saying that, but I just feel like that's not a movie you would expect to come out today.
No. Yeah, exactly. And
yeah.
I think that's really, really cool. Like, I'm happy that they went with that choice as well too. And Dev Patel's great, and everyone in the cast.
That's what I was about to say. Is everyone is great, but Dev Patel is fantastic, and I really haven't rewatched this yet since getting it because I have it on 4K, but I will be doing that eventually, or pretty soon probably, because this was just so much fun. I loved it. That being said, I don't know where you're putting this, Blake, but you already know what it is.
Oh,
it's 9 days.
I think you got an idea where I'm putting it.
It's 9 days, man.
For sure, man.
That
movie's awesome.
Yeah, I'm gonna check off the box of new things right off the bat. Like, you've never seen a movie like this before. At least I don't feel like I have. Maybe you could argue Soul, but like in a different way. So I just this was something I was not expecting to come away from. Just so like it was a life-changing movie for me in a lot of ways. Like, eye-opening, and you come away just looking at things with such a different lens, and that is another thing where it's like it takes a rare movie to do that. And I think the director and forgot who directed this. It's this first time, and I always forget his
I
name.
believe it's an Asian gentleman.
Yes, it is. I
I'm just
don't
gonna
want to
the
get it
name for you.
wrong.
Yeah, give me 1 second.
I'm trying to pull it up here.
Edson Oda.
Edson Oda, thank you. But yeah, just like what a great vision he has, and what a great way to like visualize this idea that is so abstract, you know, because how do you show how do you show
a
realm
metaphysical space
that we can't, yeah, exactly, a metaphysical space. How do you show a realm that we can't experience? And he does it so well, and it's you know, just you watch that film, and like I said, you come out a different person, and it's left kind of an imprint on me since I've watched it, and I beg so many people to watch it, and it's just honestly a shame that it hasn't gotten more popular and as much buzz, and it's just kind of the nature of the size, the scale of the film. But man, that was just one that will stay with me for a while, and so it has to be number one for sure. And not to mention also the cast is incredible, and they're all great in it, and Winston Duke is just awesome.
Yeah,
and
awesome.
And Zazie Beetz and
Bill Skarsgård as well.
Yeah, it just hits on so many different levels for me, that I can't love it enough, and it will continue to be probably one of my favorite movies for a very long time.
Yeah, man, I'm with you, man, for sure on that, definitely.
Yeah.
For reference,
I'm surprised that like nobody else even had that like in a top 10. I guess Ty didn't do honorable mentions, but Nathaniel gave us a top 10, and like that didn't even crack the top 10.
It was
that
at
was surprising to me.
It was at number 12.
Like 11, 12.
Number 12, yeah.
I figured,
okay.
Yeah. So, but yeah, man, that's I'm with you, Adam. So
cool. All right, Blake, get us out of here. We'll round us out.
Cool. All right. Tough. Like I said, I didn't make a full Entropy list. I just kind of made mine as top five, bottom five. Then I had like I had pulled it from a bucket of like 8 movies, so I had some honorable mentions. So one of my last ones out was going to be The Lighthouse.
Hey.
So just missed the cut. Great film though. Love Willem Dafoe. Robert Pattinson, Robert Eggers, great director, right? We've went on to talk about him, The Witch, The Northman, The Lighthouse, things of that nature. Another one that just missed the cut, The Batman.
Sure.
Great movie, aesthetically pleasing. Robert Pattinson, again, awesome, great portrayal of Batman and seeing the detective side. Those of you who've seen Seven, a lot of people kind of compare it to that, which has kind of some horror elements, which I love.
Definitely.
Movie's just long as fuck. There's really no way around it.
Yeah.
That's why I haven't rewatched it, to be honest with you.
No, I'm with you.
Because I know I wouldn't be able to rewatch it in one sitting. It would be difficult, you know. So, but yeah, definitely great movie. And then the 6th one, that's last one, and this was like pulling teeth. I wanted to put this in my top 5 so bad. The 6th one is Malignant.
Okay.
And I wanted to put top 5 so bad just so I can say I had it, but just rationally I couldn't do it. Right there,
fair
are
enough.
5 more films that I enjoy much more. But Malignant, awesome. I love that movie. Totally different than what I went into expecting.
Sure.
Definitely expected another Conjuring, Insidious. It's eerily similar to Dead Silence. For listeners who've seen that.
Yeah, okay. I can buy that.
That was kind of like once we were about 30, 40 minutes in, I was like, I think this is very Dead Silence-esque.
Yeah, that's an underrated one, I would say.
Yeah, man. A lot of people forget that's James Wan as well.
Yep.
But yeah, great film. We always talk about movies that just we know what the movie knows what it is, and that movie knows what it is.
That is true.
There's like the lady, I forgot their names already. I feel really bad, but like there's a scene where like she finds out she's adopted, and it's like I'm adopted, and the camera zooms in on her face.
Yeah.
And just, you know what I mean? Just like stuff like that is just awesome. I love that movie. And then let alone when the police station massacre is fucking dope too. So yeah, that's 6. So shooting to the top 5. 5, I have The Green Knight.
Okay.
So similar to Adam, very high up on there. Didn't quite break my top 2. But yeah, awesome film. It was one of those when I saw it in theaters, I was like, wow, I really, really like this movie. To the point I was like, once it comes on VOD, I'm gonna go ahead and buy it. So I bought it. I rewatched it. another one of those films where I got to it, then I was like, hey, that's a film I recommend it to anybody. I say, hey, you guys should watch this movie. I think you'll like it. And I've yet to get a return of like, oh, this movie's bad. Right.
I find that so interesting that both you and Adam found that movie to be so compelling as well too. Like, it makes me happy as like someone that like studied the original story, obviously in college and stuff like that. Like, it was a movie that when it was coming out, I was like, man, I feel like people are going into this expecting one thing, and it's going to be something completely different. But it does make me so happy that like both of you guys have just come around to be such big believers in that movie. I think it's great as well too.
Yeah. So yeah, that one's stuck with me. 4. 4. I'm doing Scream. Pardon me, I was counting. So yeah, that's one that's just stuck with me from childhood. That's one of my favorite horror movies of all time. That's probably within my top 12 movies all time, just in terms of amount of times I played it. Awesome movie. Wes Craven, horror, 90s, Drew Barrymore, Neve Campbell, just coming to the realization for the first time. And that's another one of those films where anytime you watch it with somebody, you get someone to watch it, as they're watching it and they come back to you and they're like, oh my God, I forgot there's 2 killers. Spoiler alert for a fucking 25-year-old film. It is, right?
For sure.
But still, it's just one of those people like, oh, like it's the boyfriend, right? Like that's like their first guess, you know what I mean?
Sure.
And then they watch, I'm like, oh my God, I forgot there's 2 people. You know what I mean? So yeah, Scream is awesome. I'm feeling woozy here, man. A ton of quotables from that movie that are just timeless. So yeah, that's there. 3, Dune. Huge Denny V fan, as you all know. Yeah, that movie's awesome. Rewatched it this week. As we said earlier, the movie looks amazing. The casting's phenomenal. Every shot, as Adam said, every shot of that film just looks so good. The scene where what are they called? The Bene Gesserit, I believe. I'm probably mispronouncing that wrong. But where they land.
Ben Gesserit, I think.
Thank you. The part where they land on a planet, it's like nightfall and it's raining outside. That scene just looks awesome. The scale of the ships look awesome in that movie. The sound design is so good too. When Rebecca Ferguson and Timothée Chalamet, Paul use the voice, like their witch voice. Like the sound design on that is awesome. There's sound designs where they're in the Hurkadin homeland, and like they enter this like sound bubble where they basically speak out the plot in terms of like, hey, we're gonna see if we can sabotage their land, and it's basically in some like soundproof bubble. But the sound design in that is awesome because the camera's side of the bubble, so you're like kind of hearing it very briefly. Yeah, great movie though. Love that movie. I can't wait for part 2. Number 2, we're getting up there. Number 2 is Training Day.
Oh yes,
that's one. Yeah, that's one where I've always liked that movie. For some time, I've caught it probably when I was in like middle school and stuff for the first time. But yeah, as I just rewatched it, I was just like, I love this movie to the point where I can watch that movie any day of the week.
Fair
to
enough.
be honest with you, Denzel's performance is very captivating. Ethan Hawke, we talked about him earlier. Sinister, Black Phone. He has a great performance as well. Yeah, just all around awesome because it's kind of like a buddy cop movie. It's kind of a weird horror movie. Yeah, this just very good overall. The action's good. Denzel's performance in that is nothing below excellent, in my opinion. Yeah, just all around can watch that movie top to bottom, and it's not super long. I think it's only like 2 hours and 5 minutes or something like that, like a very perfect runtime. So yeah, that's one of my personal favorites that'll always be there. And it's been that way the past probably 10, 15 years. The number 1, Adam hit on the head, it's 9 Days. Where 9 Days is yeah, very good movie, great movie, I should say. Very emotional as well. I was definitely emotional, like watching it in the theater. And to Adam's point, it's definitely just one of those where it makes you rethink life and like how you see things. And just in terms of, I mean, you have to be there to like support the good times. There's good times and bad times, but you also have to just like kind of enjoy things and live in the moment because you never really know what you got going on. So that movie's awesome. I am slightly biased to that movie because it has Zazie Beetz in it, and I am 100% aware of that. And that's the lone reason I went to go see that movie in theaters, to be honest with you. Like, if she wasn't in that film, I never would have gone to see that. So she was in it. I was like, oh, awesome. I'll go watch that. And I sat down and watched it, and I was like, this movie's beautiful. And that's another film that I can add to the list of films that I have recommended to somebody or recommended to people, and they watch it, and they're just like, wow, this movie's awesome. Right? Where I've never had somebody come back and tell me, like, oh, that movie sucks. I don't understand it. Like the concept's not too out there, right? It's not a big brain theory concept.
They do such a good job of.
Right.
Yeah. They do such a good job of getting you on board.
It's
for
not
sure.
Tenet.
Yeah, it's not. You know what I mean? So
no, you're right. You're 100% right.
People can follow it, and then it's just, it's good, man. It has like moral questions. There's dilemmas in there where they're talking like, hey, if somebody does X, Y, Z to your child, how do you respond? And then you just see the multiple different people give their answers, and it's like, dude, that's a totally valid fucking answer. Like, I can see that. You know what I mean? So it's awesome movie, dude. I love that movie. That's another one. I saw it. I was like, I'm gonna buy that film. As soon as it came out, I bought it. So yeah, that's my top 5. Really, really wanted Malignant to be in there, but it was too hard. I couldn't put it over. The Green Knight because Green Knight was my 5. Couldn't put it over the Green Knight, but yeah, Malignant's fucking awesome. So that's all I wanted to say.
Awesome. Well, there you have it. Top 5, bottom 5 from year 2, the Requel.
So we ended up going split there. 2 of us with 9 Days as the top one, and 2 of us as Jurassic Park as the top one.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. That's fun though. I was pleasantly surprised with like the variety, but also some of the similarities that we had. Like, I feel like, did any of our top 5s overlap?
I don't think we have anything. The closest thing would have been
Nathaniel
Dune,
doesn't have Dune.
Nathaniel had Dune at like 7 or something like that.
Yeah.
Me and Ty have Batman.
Me and Nathaniel have Scream. There's no overlap. The most overlap is Dune, with 3 of the 4 of us. 3 or 4 have had.
Starship Troopers.
Yeah.
Tyler and I
Oh,
have.
true. I guess, yeah, which I don't
us.
have. Yeah, 3 of the 4. So yeah, those are the 2 overlaps, right? I'm looking.
Yeah.
Here. Yeah.
And Blake and I came close on The Lighthouse.
Very true.
in our
Do we all have the
honorable mentions.
Batman in here though? No, Nathaniel doesn't have.
I have the Batman much lower actually.
Yeah. So yeah, me too. That was
a
like
piece of
8.
shit.
I love that
totally
movie,
good.
but it falls into that kind of like thing of like I've just seen so many Batman movies at this point, and like I will rewatch it, and I already have, and like I think I said at the time, like that is the Batman movie that is made for Tyler and mine's generation as well too, with like just the music choices, the set pieces, like what it is.
Yeah.
That's just a lot of the Batman that I remember growing up with. But when I was looking at my list on there was just I was just asking myself, you know, of movies that I would watch again. And like
that's what it came down to.
Yeah.
I agree. That was the key.
Sure. I'd watch that movie again. I'd watch all my top 5 again, and I will, of course, countless times.
Yeah.
All right. Well, really quick before we get out of here, we're running long on time. It is also getting really late for me since I'm an hour ahead. So we're gonna go do the IMDb entropy list year 2. All I'm gonna do is the biggest jumps up and the biggest drop downs. So I have 2 runner-ups for each, and then a winner for like what are biggest misses, and well, I guess these are both biggest misses.
So this is in comparison to the normal show entropy list that we're talking about now, like where they are on that.
So,
okay.
Yes. So I have compiled the IMDb year 2 entropy list. I will put the link to the Google Doc in the episode description, and I'll make it public if anyone wants to look at it. Essentially, what I'm measuring here is where we had it, and then on the IMDb list, how far up or down did it go out of the 107 movies that we have. So theoretically, the biggest jump possible would be from 107 to number 1, which isn't gonna happen, but it,
Yeah,
107 spots basically. But if say, I'll give you an example here. A Quiet Place Part 2 is ranked on the entropy list at 82, but it is ranked on the IMDb list at 54, meaning it went up 28 spots.
Gotcha.
Ooh.
Okay. So
I'm with you. I'm with you, Blake.
Yeah. So with that being said, the biggest jump ups, so meaning that they started at one spot on our list, but they ended up going higher on the Entropy list or IMDb list. The runner-ups is going to be The Greatest Showman went up 49 spots. You're welcome for that. Tyler. Yeah, that's probably pretty much
49. That's a
49
that's a
spots
big jump.
up. It went from
That's almost half the list.
I can find it.
Yeah, it's a third of it,
Yeah, let
basically.
me see if I
Or
can
yeah,
find
half.
it.
You're right.
It went from it's no, that's The Green Knight, not The Greatest Showman. What the hell? There we go. It was
80 something,
it's
right?
84 on our list, and it went all the way up to 35 with an
Wow.
IMDb rating of 7.5.
Hmm.
The second runner-up for that is The Boondock Saints.
Wow. Okay.
Hilarious. Yeah, right. That is 99 on our list, but number 30 on the IMDb
Holy
list
shit.
with an IMDb
Fuck
rating,
out of here.
an atrocious IMDb rating of
What's it, like a
7.7.
Yeah.
7.7.
Jesus Christ.
What the fuck
feel
are
like
you doing, people?
That's got to be like a factor of like IMDb being created in like the early thousands and just internet like dudes that were just rating it at the time, right? Like, because there's just no way someone could see that movie today and just be like,
I don't know. It's got to be something. Anyway, number one, the biggest jump from our list to the IMDb list is Zack Snyder's.
oh, of course it is. Of course it fucking is.
God
God damn it.
The Snyder cut or the OG?
The Snyder cut. The Snyder
okay.
cut. It's 97 on our list. It jumps up to 18 with an IMDb rating of 8.0. How the fuck is that 8?
Well, as we learned at the
8.0 rating, I will say that. I mean, I think it's a tad bit low for 97, but as far as going up to 18, I think that's fucking insane.
No, it's wild.
That movie, well, it was, as we learned this year, the biggest cinema moment was Flash enters the Speed Force as decided at the Oscars or whatever when they had that horrible Twitter poll that they had.
Sure.
But
also, fuckers, remember?
Yeah, that's the other thing too.
Yeah, human garbage.
Yeah. Let's just go ahead and say that.
Allegedly. We'll just cover ourselves a little bit there.
Allegedly, right?
Yeah.
All right. Now the biggest drops, and we're gonna do this fast because I really do have to get going.
Yeah.
Anyway, runners up. The second runner up is the Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift. That dropped 52 spots. It was on our list 39.
It's
and
disrespectful.
It dropped to 91. It is disrespectful. That's cultural disappropriation. You guys should really appreciate Japan. So, anyway,
It's family.
It's family. The second runner up for this one hurt me a little bit. It's 9 days.
Oh wow.
I knew that was because that IMDb rating is like 6 point something.
Really?
Yeah, it is.
Crazy.
It's 14 on our list. It's 69 on the IMDb list with an IMDb rating of 6.8.
What do you think that is? Do you think it's just like hard asses that are like, I don't want to feel things in movies or something like that?
Yeah, I think it's that.
I think it might be too out there for some people.
Fair, yeah.
I think it's almost like too like happy or like too I guess too emotional to Daniel's point.
Yeah.
Like I think people are just like, I don't want to see that shit in my cinema. I want to see big action movies. Like, you know what I mean? I think that's like
kind
the
of
standard
stuck in
view
one
on that.
mindset.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, this doesn't have any of that.
Right.
So,
All right. And then the biggest drop down in ranking was also another one that hurt me. The Green Knight.
Oh, okay.
I can see that too.
16 on our list. 76 on the IMDb list. A drop of 60 ranks. An IMDb rating of 6.6. Get out of here. I don't trust IMDb anymore. We're fighting
that's so low.
shit.
That's honestly
pretty crazy.
so low.
Right?
Yeah.
So I guess what this means is I actually won. I won the review, and I have the best movie taste, and the general public can suck it. All right, because I'm glad that they hate these movies because I love them, and it just makes me feel better about my taste. That people are like, man, and then I can be like, no, So yeah. All right. Well, there you have it. Like I said, you can look at the full list here in the episode description. I'll make sure it's linked down there if you want to take a look at where these all have moved. Not as good as it was last year, as I said before, but still pretty fun to look at fun to look at all things considered. Anyway, BlakeHolder, let's get on here. Where can the people find you at, my man?
Letterboxd. I'll be on there logging some stuff. You can find me, BlakeHolder. I believe I actually left some thoughts on the Black Phone. I believe your guys' buddy did as well. So, Brian Foley. So yeah, nonetheless, you can find me on there.
Like that guy,
Mr. Water Coolers. Yeah, great guy. Tag Taste Mr. Water Coolers. That's my Xbox, PlayStation, Instagram, whatever you want to find me at. I'll be available. Popcorn. The tie.
You can find me on twitch.tv/ElTrabajo87. I'm trying to get my capture card working again. I don't know if it's an issue. I've kind of had this issue before, but I'll fix it. Don't worry about it. And then Instagram, Letterboxd, and Twitter, all Tyler Vidalis, VIDALES. Also, speaking of the Foleys, they are brand new parents. So
yes,
congratulations.
Congrats.
And
Congrats.
well, I mean, I know these guys love you, but I love you too. So you're my guy. So shout out
Ryan,
Phoenix.
thank you for listening, and congratulations.
He's only he's only a little bit. What is he? Gosh, I don't. He's maybe a week, and he's getting his first shout out. So
True.
It took Ryan many weeks to get a shout out.
Welcome
for his first one
to the listenership, Phoenix.
Phoenix James Foley,
our youngest fan.
Yep. So other than that, Adam, where can people find you?
I am on Twitch at H20 on Twitter at H24, on Twitch at twitch.tv/H, and on Letterboxd at H. Nathaniel.
Yeah. What's up, folks? Next week, Thor: Love and Thunder.
Yes. Yeah, I was gonna say that. I was gonna say
I
at the end.
forgot I gotta watch that movie. I don't want to watch that.
No, it's gonna be good. I have hope for this one. It's Taika Waititi. Yeah. Ragnarok was good. This one I'm actually kind of excited for.
Yeah.
Other than that, if you wanted to, I feel so bad for Blake right now. That was so sad.
Yeah, I totally forgot I had to watch that movie.
Super marveled out. Already said he was. We're throwing you back in.
True. But you can find me on Twitter and Letterboxd at NSGingrick. If you want to see my full entropy list for 2022, it's under Personal Entropy List 2022, Electric Boogaloo. That is on my Letterboxd. And you can also find me on Instagram at NathanielG92, Sandpiper Tapes, other podcast. And that's it. Let's get on out of here, folks. I was the last one to go, right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you all for listening to Entropy List Requel, year 2 Requel.
2-year anniversary, guys.
It's been a fun 2 years. We reminisce plenty in the 100 episode special. So if you want to hear more reminiscing and all that kind of stuff, go head over there. But yeah, thank you all for joining us for this episode. Thank you all for joining us for 2 years, whether it's the first episode you listened to today or you've been listening since episode 1. It means a lot. We love doing this. We're going to continue to do it as long as we feel like we want to. So, yeah. Thank you all for listening, and we'll BRB.
Be excellent to each other, everyone, and we will BRB.
Thanks for stopping by. We appreciate anything you do to help us grow, especially you. And just spread that love. You never know where somebody's at in their day or their journey, and we will BRB.
Thanks for listening as always. We appreciate the support. As we say, as long as you do at least one thing you love every day, then you're living the right way. We'll BRB.
America. Ready for another lesson.
Are you guys yogurt fans?
Yeah, I'll eat it. I'll eat it for breakfast occasionally.
She does not like that.
I am like pro yogurt. I just don't eat a lot myself. I try to avoid dairy.
Yeah, me too, Adam.
I do not like yogurt.
It's once every
Yogurt and milk are like the two pieces of dairy I will always keep in my diet.
See, this is where we differ.
And then cheese is just like a part of life.
Yeah,
Cheese is a part of life. That's why it's like
I get
cheese
it
and ice cream are the two dairies that I will not cut out.
Yeah.
But like everything else, I like balance it where it's like everything else is cut out because I want those two things. Like
Sure.
that's my only intake.
I feel like I didn't like start doing cheese until I was like in college.
Ugh.
That's
How'd you survive?
insane. Yeah, what the hell?
I didn't for a while there. I was in the Blake camp and I was a really picky eater. I was a big. There was a lot of like textures I didn't like, so I really didn't like noodles. I didn't like melted cheese or anything like that too. Just like all that stuff, I just was not a fan of. And then I didn't.
I'm fucking you up.
I didn't drink milk and I don't like yogurt.
Noodles?
Yeah, like soft noodles or any of those noodles. I didn't eat them. Didn't like them.
Soft noodles, any of those noodles.
You can see like pasta or any of that. I don't even know what it's called. Like I don't have good
Dude,
knowledge of all that stuff.
I
eat it now.
love Pasta.
Yeah, I'll eat pasta, even as picky as I am. But in terms of the dairy, like I never did milk. I
Me
never
too,
liked
dude.
milk, so I just never ate cereal. My
I
entire
grew
life.
up on that shit.
See, I just started drinking like chocolate soy milk in like
Sure.
freshman year. Just had that with my cereal.
I have switched over to like lactose-free milk, which obviously helps with the digestion process. But yeah, I'll chug a glass of milk right now on pot. I don't give a shit.
I'm not even scared. I'll drink a glass of milk right now.
No, here's the real question. We're talking 2%, 1%, whole milk, skim milk. Like, where are you guys lying?
2%'s the money.
I just hope
Right.
one day
I will deal with skim milk. But yeah, anything that's 2% is whole milk in my mind is used for like cooking and like roux and like that's where that kind of stuff is for.
Stupid
2%
question.
I'll just slam.
And I'm just revealing my ignorance here, but what are the percentages of? Like, is there somewhere out there that has the other 98% of milk? Is that cheese?
It's I believe it's fat
Honestly,
content.
like, a lot of it is cheese.
What'd you say it was?
I believe it's fat content.
Fat content. Got it.
But when I was trying to like lose weight, I looked at like what milk is. It's literally just fat and sugar, and I'm like, this is why babies drink this.
It's true.
Because they need it.
Yeah.
So then I was like, well, fuck, I should probably
You're a
stop
growing
drinking
boy.
milk.